We reached they don't really care as far as like what I try to explain to them, that it's not just about the platforms that you're on. It's about what you're saying, and it's about actually being an earnest
It's about your authenticity.
Defender. Yeah.
We don't have a message problem.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, okay, we have a message problem.
We do.
We don't have exclusively a message problem. We have a messenger problem.
Yes.
I've been talking to a lot of my colleagues too. I remember we were going back and forth in like a retreat. And, you know, everybody, you know, after the election, they all bring in the polls. It's like the polls say this, the polls say that. Honestly, I mean, the polls always say this. I'm like, I told y'all that. I'm like, I already told y'all that. But like, so we're doing that. And then we're talking about, and they're like, well, you know what we need to do. I was like, you know, no, we need people. You can say whatever you want to say. You can start cussing online, look cool. You can do all that. If that is you, then do it. But the problem is like, if you ain't never had to struggle to pay the rent, how are you going to relate to somebody who does? And a honest person doesn't have to relate to every single person in their district. You don't.
Yeah.
But again, as the party of working class people, if you can't relate to working class, I had to talk to my colleagues like, yo, there are so many of y'all who generationally have not experienced being of the poor.
Yeah.
I think most of us are working class, right? You don't own anything, you don't trade stocks. You're in a working class. You got to work for your living. You're in a working class. But a lot of people lose those roots. They're not there. That's why they're not talking to non-voters anymore.
Yeah.
That's why you got all these people who are only listening to consultants and hyper like attentive voters, like those voters who are like, I go to caucus, I go to the DNC.
What the abundance call the groups.
Yeah, they're talking to them all the time.
Yeah.
But they're not talking to real people. And then when they go and you go to the barber shop and you ain't been to the barber shop in years, you don't know what them brothers down there are dealing with in their real life. So how are you gonna relate to it? And that's the problem. Right now when we're talking about, man, we got colleagues who, and this is not a shot,